art is an essential for life. We all need it, but it is extremely optional. I generally tend to operate from a space of like, and I don't say this to be hyperbolic, like I saw the first person get stabbed up when I was 6 years old, and I remember watching him bleeding and blood splurting all over and thinking, wow, this is really crazy. I'm somebody who's incredibly okay with violence in a way that maybe is probably eternally shocking. So the idea of being $270,000 in debt was not a huge, burden for me, because I always default to myself like these violences are just part of the internal nature of the world. Now, I teach, I see many kids, and I see the decisions that they're making to navigate through this new indenture, navigate through it or around it. Now, like I said, I have an incredible tolerance for violence from my own personal life. But I do listen and understand how that violence can be jarring and shocking for other people while it's not for me. I think the other thing that now I'm going to go on the other thing. I think there's an entitlement idea of art. You make something, therefore it needs to be supported. And by supported, it means being bought or purchased or whatever, listened to. Art is an essential for life. We all need it. But it is extremely optional. There is no reason anybody should listen to Taylor Swift. Somebody could choose to listen to something else, listen to a podcast, listen to whatever, listen to an interview. Even the biggest musician, the biggest artist know that this is extremely optional. And at the end of the day, we have to be grateful that we are given any bit of space to be heard by someone else. We have to be grateful for others choosing to participate with the thing that we want to make. And that there is no guarantee. I'm not pro or anti-capitalist or anything like that. I don't even really understand these dualities. I think these are false narratives. But I do think that capitalism and art is one of the greatest use case for capitalism, because I enjoy a Tupac album, and I want to put my money towards that album. I want to be grateful. I enjoy a painting. I want to choose to participate and buy that painting. I don't think there's any other structure that can be that trade. Now, do I think capitalism needs to exist in healthcare? No. Education? No. But I appreciate, and I'm grateful that when anybody says, I'm going to buy one of your paintings, I'm like, what? Wow. Because I make my paintings from such a selfish place. I just want to say something. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I just want to say, this is my understanding of it. I'm not trying to be morally right. I'm not trying to be morally wrong. I'm just trying to understand, oh, this is the world that I live in, so that I can think about it more carefully. I have time and space. I have a career, one of the few careers that give people time and space. If you're if you're a doctor, you don't have time and space. You're always, and these things are, if you're a teacher, for example, you don't have time and space. You're always having to give. These things are extremely undervalued by society. And here I have time and space to think. And I want to think about who I am. And then I make something. And the fact that I have a gallerist that says I want to show it, I want to, they have responsibilities, they have finance, they have teams that they have to pay for, they have, those people got kids. It's a huge risk to show your work. And so I think sometimes what I do here with a lot of young artists is an entitlement of an expectation. Oh, I made this song, therefore you're my cousin, you need to listen to this song. It's like, no, the song sucks, I don't want to listen to this shit. I used to make a lot of paintings. I've been making paintings since I was 10. The only time I knew I was a real artist was when my boy Anthony Arias pulled up to the studio and asked me for work. And that was like 10 years ago. I've known him for 20 something years. And that was the first time I said, oh, I'm making a good painting. Because he doubled back and he said, yo, you mind if I get that one right there? I never pushed it on them. I never said, I make this painting, you need to have this painting. We're making something extremely optional, but hopefully in the work, my interest are your interest. And there's a great joy. There's some works, I get so frustrated because I don't have $1 million and I wish I could buy it. I mean, there's just some art that I go, wow, you've given me a reason to wake up. I wish I had it on the wall. I wish I could walk into my living room and see this. I saw this Joseph Beuys, Andy Warhol screen print that Andy did. It was like a North Star for me. I said, oh my God. I was in Brazil, I saw this Sonia Gomes sculpture and the way it took up space, I felt like my mother was alive. And I said, I need this, I really wanted it. And I had to put it in my show, one of my shows, because I just thought, and I put it in a room with my grandma, pictures of my grandma, and my great-great-great-great-great-grandma, because those take up so much of my emotional space. And I thought, if I could live with the Sonia Gomes, I would. I'm so grateful, So if you don't make something that doesn't do that to me, yet you expect me to engage in it, now I just feel like you're being an asshole. And now I just feel like you're being like a real asshole, really. But I think we have to remove ourselves from the entitlement in art. It should exist in other places, but not in art. It's just gratitude. I want to be a great artist. My challenge is I want to be a great artist. But like I was saying earlier, you only become a great artist by being who you are. Biggie never had to worry about Tupac or Snoop Dogg or Lil Kim, because it's an extremely competitive field, but only because you understand the only way to become good is by being who you are and being honest about who you are. So I'm extremely competitive because I see some people be who they are and I go, wow, you got it. This, it's probably happened to you. I mean, how many conversations you have where you could just tell it's regurgitated talking points? And then you go, this is not who you are. This is just the regurgitated talking point that you heard from Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And I go, I just want to know how I feel about something, to have a real opinion. Because that's how I know who I am. If I'm just getting angry and regurgitating a talking point that I saw from Twitter, that's not honest. And so I really just want to be honest. I find that art is my way of being honest. It's extremely destabilizing I go through existential angst at the most random moments, because the value in regurgitating some truth is that it gives you a sense of purpose. I have to discover my purpose so many times, and sometimes that leads me to very dark places at 10:01 randomly, because I don't know what I'm doing, and then my value disappears, and then I go, I don't know what this value is. I don't know what I'm doing here. And then at 10:05 I see a great artwork, and I go, oh, I need to dig deeper in myself, because the joy of the world is that I get to think through this thing. And it's a destabilizing set of emotions that I've never experienced. It gets wider and wider. The highs are higher, the lows are lower. I find by being surrounded by more art is the more stabilized I get. The more I go to listen to a great song, or go to a museum, or go to wherever, it's the more I find, okay, I have purpose and meaning. So it's an incredibly destabilizing force. But I want to be a great artist, and I want to, because I know what great artists meant for me. I know what Tupac meant for me. I know what Biggie meant for me, Ghostface. I know what great art has meant for me. And so I go, I need to be a great artist.